All right, picked up floor tile this morning. Um, this is night and day difference between Lowe's and Home Depot this time around. Both I've gone to both stores in the past. Lately, I tend to like Home Depot better. I mean, I get 10% off at both for being a vet, but yeah. So Lowe's is the one I ordered the smaller boards from. They got put on back order. They sent me an email saying if you don't want us to cancel it, you have to call our customer service. And then you call customer service and it's an hour wait. And I'm not putting up with that shit. So eventually I found out you can go to the store and cancel online orders. So I walked in, canceled it, and then went and bought these bigger boards. Well, then we come along and the floor tile, because we had the wall tile at Home Depot, and the floor tile we ordered there as well. Well, I got an email from some lady at Home Depot saying that's been put on back order, and all I had to do was reply to the email to cancel it. So, with Lowe's, if I wanted to keep my order, I had to call their customer service or go into a store, and it's a big pain in my butt. And Home Depot, I only had to reply to an email, as easy as that. And then I actually found this stuff at Menards. I kind of like it. I didn't expect them to have something decent. So this will be for the shower floor, this stuff, right? And then they had, as part of a collection. So they had floor tile, like big pieces too, right? So I got these 12 by 24s that match, and those will go on the curb because the curb is 6 tall, 4.5 wide. And I'm not even sure if I want the curb that tall. I'll cut it down. There's a code. I think the don't quote me, but I think the code is either 1.5 inches or 2 inches above the drain. That's the minimum curb height. It has to be at least that tall. So if drain's downstairs. 1 second. Okay, so here's the drain, and we'll do it once it's in. That's why we want the floor installed before I start. Is find out where this will be. It's got this adjusting. Hold on. Well, maybe I shouldn't have stuck that down in there yet. Oh well, it's fine. So we want to make this nice and even, right? We want to find kind of something that looks symmetrical, maybe like that, where it has relatively, I don't know if we want little small chunkies like that along it, because they'll be flush with the top, and that's going to have some little thin corners and they could crack, right? So I think we want thicker pieces, as thick as possible, but still kind of symmetrical. Maybe that'll be good. There's plenty of stuff to try out, but what I don't want is thin pieces here, thick over here. I want it to be even. So we'll figure that out, and then I'll just get trimmed at the wall, however it needs to be. But so I looked it up when I went to get the drain, and in Michigan, it's 2 inches. So once from the top of the curb to the top of the drain. So if we have this tile, that big rectangular stuff, I don't know, I'll have to get it out and see how thick it is, but it's probably similar thickness to this because they're both the same brand. We'll double check. Either way, they'll be close enough. So yeah, so from if that tile height is there, our curb only has to be 2 inches above, right? Then there's the thickness of the floor and all that other stuff. So we might be able to shave 1 inch or 2 off of the bottom of this just to get it lower, because 6 inches isn't bad, it's normal, but you just step over it. And the curbless is cool, but if you do curbless, your whole bathroom has to be watertight and slope towards the drain, and we're not doing that. So yeah, we'll get her there. And I bought these little guys for the pecs. So it's supposed to keep tight corners from kinking, because I don't want to add a 90 with more crimps, because that's more places that can leak. And then I switched to 90-degree flanges for these water pipes. So we don't have to flex that. We'll just cut them off right here, solder this 90 on, hole through the wall, crimp it. And 90s up that wall to the valve, but we'll get the valve in place before we do the water. I think I can get the water done today. That way we don't have to shut it off anymore. We'll see. So here's pretty good benefit of making these recordings is that I covered up. That's 16 1/8, right? That's where the center of the valve needs to be from here, from this stud, 16 1/8 in, and I couldn't remember what was under there. So yay, we did something. So I'm gonna get this valve up. I need two hands. Okay, so install it upside down so it's easier to see. But this min max is definitely the rough height, right? So before we even start the wall, it needs to be in that area because this isn't thick enough to go down it. So if we look at, or maybe they're assuming that you're using like a giant backing board, and then I don't know what they're assuming, but either way, that's not gonna. It's a huge gap, right? So this piece of plywood, this 1/2 inch, is the same basic thickness as that Curdy board, and then here's a piece of that glass tile. And granted, it'll have a little bit of thin set, but it's not going to have that much thin set. So we got to do something. I think we're going to have to recess it into that 2x10, and then yeah, I don't like that. It's going to be on thin wood. I'll have to figure out a solution. We need to get the valve further into the wall. I'm not going to bring this wall out. I don't want to, like, I'm not going to have this sticking proud and looking all goofy and trying to figure out that edge. So, yeah, I think here's my center marks for it. So where the disc and everything will go. And I'll just get it up there, trace it out, and figure out how to get it in. I think probably what these top tabs are for, if you had to recess this in, is you would cut these tabs off, slide it into the wall, and then use these maybe with longer screws or a piece of wood in there. That's just such a thin area. It bothers me. Something has to be done though. We'll figure it out. Okay, so I remembered seeing this in the instructions and wondering why, right? So step 8, once the finished wall is complete, use a hacksaw to cut the protective plastic cover from the valve as shown and cut through the protective sleeves. So the reason these sleeves go down past the plastic, boing boing, right? Well, this one doesn't. Yes, well, it probably yeah, there we go. It goes down in there. Is that from here up, this is hollow, and it extends down. So this is your finished height has to be in between here, because when you cut this off, that plate can go further down than it can now. So panic averted, we can just mount the thing and be on our way. So what I want to do is I'm going to put it in place with one screw, just get it located, see what it's going to look like, and see where we can put a stud and still have our piping not be in the way of anything. So probably figure out where the pipe's going to be, like here. Well, we're going to end up with a stud. This is stupid. It's so dumb. Because I don't want this thin. We don't want thin little niches. We want big ones. But we don't want the niche over. Well, no. This is a circle. And even if the niche comes to here, it doesn't matter. So I think, yeah, we'll go 16-inch center, which is going to end up being like here. So there'll be niche, thing, niche. And I don't think it's going to look goofy. It'll be fine. Okay, so if you want to get into some arguments with people, see how this says thread seal tape, anti-seize. This part's right, this part's a lie. Go for it. So I like this stuff a lot. Actual sealant, better than tape. So tape is a lubricant. It helps the threads go in further, right? So you'll get more go, and you'll get more engagement on this giant spiral leak path that is inherent in every pipe threaded fitting. They suck and I hate them, but it's what we ended up with. So we'll be using this guy to thread pieces in, and then we're going to do copper pipe to the pecs with a piece coming off for a water hammer. So that'll be about 6 inches is normal. We'll go, yeah, longer's better, right, ladies? Okay, I got everything prepped and dry fit. So this direction's up, so that's where we want the big 8-incher for water hammer. And then when we do this joint here, we'll get this side up so we know it's nice and plumb. So we'll just put something underneath there, but we'll solder all of this together once I find my flux. It's somewhere around here first. That way we're putting as little heat as possible into the whole system once it's attached to our actual valve. So get this together, make sure this is cooled off, slide it on there, and it should be a real quick blast of heat, solder, and done with her, and we can take it up and mount it on the wall. Okay, so test fit. So there's our controls in place. I think that spout's gonna be perfect there. It's fine. It doesn't get in the way because this only goes over a little ways, right? There's cold, there's hot, and then on off is when you tilt up and down, and then there's what activates our wand. So that's perfect. That's fine. It's centered with this, so it'll look. Well, I think it is. It's centered with the plate, so and we can move it up and down, but I don't think we'll need to. I think it'll look good like that once the tile's up. So and then this, I just put one bolt just to kind of feel out the location. We can see, it's not going to interfere with any of our rain stuff. We can adjust it up and down as we see fit if we want. And then this guy, you can see it's sagging, right? Now, part of that's because I didn't tighten the threads all the way, so it's a little loose in there and it'll move. The other part is it's probably, that 2x4 might not be plumb. So this is why I try to put this stuff together now, figure that kind of thing out, because that's going to ruin the whole look of the shower if it looks like that. I wouldn't ever want to install it like that. But trying to remedy that after the fact, once there's tile on the wall, like, no thanks. So I think the fix, since we have plenty of space this way, is I'll pull that fixture back off, and I've got some pretty thick steel downstairs just for like car stuff. Now steel rust, but it's an aluminum. Either way, I think the answer here is to have that mounted to something stout that can be shimmed, right? And then that whatever plate it's mounted to, I can shim out and get the angle, close enough to perfect that once we thread the pipe in and tighten it, we can just kind of reef on it a little bit and get it right where we want it. So maybe there's an actual solution out there that exists already and I just need to look it up. We'll find out. Either way, what time is it? It's 12:12, which I'm making a new rule for myself so I'm not so stressed out on the way to work, is I need to leave at 1:45. So at 12:45, I stop what I'm doing, go take a shower, get my lunch together, that kind of stuff. Make it a little more relaxed instead of pushing it to like 1:15 and then rushing around the house. So might not get much more done today, but it's a good day anyway.